The third of my proofs is the fact that we have a mind. Huh? You say, isn't that part of the physical reality? The answer is no. All the physical reality, your nerve endings, and all of the wondrous things that you have, your ears, your eyes, your mouth, all of these things have sensors that transmit things. And it's transmitted to a central location within the brain. But the brain has got a good receiving sensor. The question is, how does that get transmitted? It's like you have a sophisticated camera that goes ahead and gets information and then beams it onto a screen, but the screen doesn't see it. The observer who looks at the screen sees it. So now your brain is like the receiving system. It's a receiving system, but somebody's got to be at the other end to translate this. Now then that's the soul, that's the consciousness of the human being, independent of the physical condition. That's just the way it is. All of the explanations that you have, this is not God of the gaps. This is reality. Reality is that consciousness is a separate entity outside of the physical. An example of that you see from Professor Wheeler. Wheeler tells you that when you look at something, you just don't see it. You actualize, you make it really happen. The observer really makes reality happen. How does that work? How can an observer make something? The experiment is that you've got a light which goes on probability waves, and it doesn't know which way it's going to turn. Well, the way it turns is dependent upon the observer. The observer, if he looks at it from the left, it will have gone around the right. If he looks at it from the right, it will have gone around the left. And not only going around the left recently when he observes it, but all the way back billions of years. In other words, the conscious mind has an effect on the origin of time. Think about that. The conscious mind of the person affects an origin billions of years ago. How does that work? We're here now. The light went out billions of years ago. How do you affect that? The answer is you have a mind, and the mind is independent of time and space. The mind is independent of time and space. You come to consciousness where there are decisions. That consciousness comes from a higher consciousness, but it is independent of your physical condition. The fact that you can sense things and you can process information indicates that there is a soul that can process the information, because all you're getting are impulses. There has to be someone that translates it. Even if it gets refined and defined within your receiver, it still needs somebody reading it. It can't read itself. And so there's a conscious mind within you that's separate from your body. We call that mind the soul. And that mind affects not just your body, it affects all of reality. You have an effect on the rays out there. You actualize the world. This is a concept that is only found in Torah. In 2,500 years of scientific discussion, no one ever said that the mind actualizes things except for the rabbis of the Talmud. I want to tell you that. But the fact that we have a mind, and that processes the information and gives us freedom of choice, as Heisenberg says. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle goes hand in hand with the concept of freedom of choice, which we Jews believed in. The scientists were saying no in the 19th century. We can determine why people do things. Determinism, because we got science. They found Baba mices. They couldn't determine anything. And the reason why they can't determine it is because you've got a mind, and the mind has got freedom of choice, and it's separate from the physical condition. That's my third reason for believing. And my fourth reason for believing is the Torah. Torah was given to Jews on Mount Sinai in front of the entire people. That is a transmission that has never been contradicted by the people of Israel. They've accepted that and died for that all throughout the generation. And if you don't believe in something, you don't die for it, you don't give it to your kids. And on top of that, that book, the 5 books of Moses, is going under incredible scrutiny. Bible critics says, Baba Mises, it doesn't exist. They found, to their dismay, everything that's there is exact. Everything that was stated there. They said there were no camels in the times of Abraham. Well, guess what? They found in the city of Ugarit, camels were bought and sold in that city. But it was very, very rare. That's why it shows that Abraham was such a rich man, because he had camels at a time where it was exceedingly rare. Nobody had camels. He had 10 of them. He had more than 10 of them. He sent a servant with 10 of them. It shows just how rich Abraham was. But the Bible has defied all of its critics, and in fact today they discovered the Bible codes. The codes of the Bible is something that has never been seen by in any other book, in any other literature, in any other way. The Bible actually predicts all of the future events. And you know why it does that? Because the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, is said by God that this is the instrument through which I created the world. This is my wisdom. And since this is the wisdom, these are the letters through which God created the world. In those letters of that Torah is superimposed all the events that will take place in the future in the world itself. And you can find it through the Torah. Therefore, I want you to know the 4th basis of belief in God is when you see the Torah and study the Torah. You say, well, I don't know the Torah. Well, you know what? You can begin to study Torah. And you can begin to study the truth of the world in the 5 books of Moses, in the original language in Hebrew. You have to learn it in Hebrew. And all of my friends, my Christian friends, my Islamic friends, I'm not trying to diss you. I'm saying to you, learn the Torah. Torah is the original. Torah is the true word of God. And it's been proven over and over again. There's nothing like it in the world. And if you have any questions, I'm here. There are other people who can answer.